If our cup isn't full, if our foundation isn't solid, how well can we really serve others, right? Be it in life or business. Introducing the Vixen Voice, a podcast for ambitious women entrepreneurs ready to move into their feminine essence, live their truth, and unlock their full potential. I'm your host, April Roberts, and each week I'll be interviewing inspiring women who decided to take a leap of faith to pursue their dream. Women who believe that they were born for something bigger. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing well. I'm looking outside and it's a beautiful day here in Nashville. So I just got off my coaching session, my weekly. We do personal development, we do marketing, we do business, and we do networking in the Vixen Founders Collective. And today was our personal development day, and we have gone to level 2 of our curriculum, which is all about living a charged life, right? So in life, you can choose to be caged, like stuck in a cage. You can choose to be comfortable, or you can choose to be charged. And the women who join that community really want to kill it at business and kill it at life, and we love to do that together. So today was super exciting. We did an assessment on the 10 human drivers, and we went through our lowest and highest scores and gave ourselves like kudos for where we're killing it, and we put a plan in place for the scores that we needed to move up. So I love that, and I just love to hear on a scale of 1 to 10, like, how do you feel you're thriving in life? Are you living a charged life? If you feel like these tips might help you move from a 3 up, we want to get you above a 5 as fast as possible. That's our goal. And then I'd love to hear from you. Is it important to you to live life this way? So today I'm super excited. We're talking about one of my favorite topics, and this is my secret for making aligned, quick decisions, because in business, I think sometimes we have to move quickly, but we want to make the right decision, right? And I think that's true in life often too. And then number 2, it's the way that I recharge my energy. So today I was talking about how sometimes we just kind of go through a Groundhog Day time where maybe everything feels the same or we feel blah. And so this is my secret to get myself out of that, to really recharge my energy and my joy for life. And the third thing I use the secret for is setting strong boundaries. This is a key, especially for we women, to live an amazing life, because we're givers and we want to serve others. But you know what? If our cup isn't full, if our foundation isn't solid, how well can we really serve others, right? Be it in life or business. So I love talking about this. And the secret is knowing your personal core values. I'm going to share how I discovered this secret. I know everyone, this is talked about often today, but when I discovered it, it wasn't really talked about. What happened was it was 2020. I knew that I wanted to do something different and make impact in a different way. That impact became the Vixen Gathering and what I do today. But at that point, I didn't know what it was. So I was actually working with a team to help me discover it, a group of coaches for like marketing purpose, like developing the business. And one exercise was, what are the core values of your business? And for some reason, I decided that I was going to do my personal core values. That night, I would do the homework at night because I was running a company by day, working on the new company at night. I think a lot of you can relate to that, right? Or in my spare time. And I just thought, you know what? I want to discover my personal core values. So I went through the exercise for the business core values, which, by the way, Vixen Gathering has business core values. I'm a huge fan of that too. But here's the deal. If you're a solopreneur or you have a small team, maybe with part-time, maybe your personal core values are your business values, right? Talk about living an aligned life. And for me, that was true. I decided to do my personal values, and that was the first core values of the Vixen Gathering, were my personal core values. And I'll share that my personal core values are alignment, affection, and adventure. And I actually have a whole page I've kept to this day. When I coach on this, I share this page where I defined what they meant. I really dug into what these words meant for me. And what I can share is
This exercise changed my life because it also came at a time where I started in 2019 really focusing on me, my spiritual journey, my healing journey, which I think led to my change in careers. Everything ends up happening in tandem. But I can share with you, I was terrible at setting boundaries in my personal life prior to 2019 when I started that journey. I was great in business because I understood what my value was, what I had to deliver, what I had to give. And so in business, I had great boundaries, and I suddenly had an aha that I had horrible boundaries in my personal life, right? I gave too much. I was always worried about what people I loved thought. I was worried about their well being over my own. And my spiritual journey led me to understand that I have to put the mask on myself first, right? The plane's going down, you put the oxygen mask on yourself, or you can't serve the person next to you. So this came at a great time when I was like, I want to know my personal core values. And so I defined those. And here's how it changed my life, right? I'm going to share a couple of stories from me and from my clients that have to do with these three things. So, Stephanie sharing, I'm at 4 and having been making changes every day to get back to where the Lord is leading me. Love it, Stephanie. Stephanie, don't forget to surrender. I find that when I surrender to Him, life is magical. When I forget and think I'm in charge, life gets a lot more challenging, right? So that's my personal experience. So Cheryl said she can relate. She's always putting others first. And I know this about you, Cheryl. And, unfortunately, that can hurt our mental, our physical, our spiritual being. It can hurt all parts of us, right? So let's get into personal core values and why I'm such a fan. And what I'm going to do is drop a worksheet in the comments. When I get done, I'll drop it. And it's the exercise that I give my clients when we're walking through their core values. I love coaching on core values. I love helping my clients find their core values and really, not just naming them, but defining them and owning them to live their life that way. So number one, I found that having personal core values helped me make decisions faster and decisions that I felt better about and that were aligned with how I wanted to live and how I wanted to run my business, right? So I can share with you again, mine are, and I really recommend you have max 5 core values, right? I like 3 because it's a quick checklist. I've realized recently that I probably have a 4th or 5th, and that's one of my stories today, but it might fall under alignment as well. So I'm playing with that to see if I add another one. But here's what's interesting. You really want to get to the core of who you are. When I discovered mine, I posted them on LinkedIn to share. And a woman I went to college with, she was always in competition with me. I like to say maybe she was a frenemy, right? Like we were friendly, but she was always in competition with me strangely. So like this was not my biggest fan, right? So I posted my 3 core values and she said, oh my gosh, this is exactly who you were in college, right? So this was an honest response from someone who's not my biggest fan. And so it just shows me that when you nail this, it's really the core of who you are as a human being here on earth. And that's why when you make decisions aligned with it, they are so strong. So when I started the Vixen Gathering, as I shared, my personal core values were the core values of the Vixen Gathering. And, I had a girlfriend who was an amazing badass, like had started an entire division of an insurance company, was just phenomenally good at business, very well connected. And she was in a career change when I was starting the Vixen Gathering. And she said, hey, can we talk? Like, I'd love to partner up and do this with you. And, I wasn't looking for a partner, but I knew my friend was amazing at business. She was great. She'd probably be a great business partner. And I said, well, let's chat. And when we chatted, something was just off. Even though I knew, on paper, she was amazing, great, and awesome. Like after our conversation, I just didn't feel great. And I was like, you know what? Let's check in with my core values. And sure enough, she did not align with alignment, affection, and adventure, right? She was looking for something different. And so I just kind of, I was like, hey, I know you're interested, but, of course, gracefully I backed out. This is kind of, I really want to start this myself, etc. But I could have made a huge mistake and started a business with a partner who wasn't aligned with the core of what I was trying to do if I didn't have those three core values. Like, really instantly when I asked, are we aligned here, here, and here? It was a hard no. Likewise, a couple of years ago, I was in a relationship. I really thought this was my person for life, right? He was my best friend. Like, we traveled together. We were always together. Like, everything was great. Everyone thought we'd be together forever. And then again, we had a conversation one night. It was a date night. We were actually not in the same city. We would have remote date nights when we were apart. And something came up and it really bothered me and hurt me. And he didn't mean to. And, it was just him being honest about something. And it was something about how he was. It wasn't even about me. And it just didn't sit well with me. And I was like, hey, I think I gotta go. Let's talk tomorrow. I'm getting really emotional. I want to get off. I want to see what's going on. And when I woke up in the morning, I compared our relationship and what I had learned that evening to my core values. And I saw that I was violating two of my three core values if I stayed in that relationship. So it was not easy. Like, this was a person I thought I'd be with forever. I still had to go through the grieving of the breakup, etc. But I never second guessed that breakup. Now, there have been times where we almost got back together, but that was different. I didn't second guess at that point in my life. It was not aligned for me, right? And so I don't think I'm doing these stories justice, but when you really nail your personal core values and you have to make a major decision for business or life and you check against your personal core values, it's just awesome how it brings you clarity immediately. In fact, when my clients were coaching on this, we send them a little plaque with their personal core values to sit on their desk, their dresser, wherever they're going to see it every day, because you want to own these core values, right? And, set an alarm on your phone where you see them at the same time every day. But do you see how suddenly you have this checklist to run major decisions through? And so that's been like a game changer for me, a decision hack. It doesn't mean that the repercussions of the decisions aren't sometimes difficult, like getting over a breakup, but making the decision and actually feeling good about the decision comes quite easily when you apply your personal core values. The second thing I use my personal core values to help me do is recharge my energy. So the time this really sticks out to me is, remember, in 2020, I defined my personal core values. So number 2, recharging your energy, using your personal core values. And here's how I like to explain that the best, right? Our core values make up our foundation. So we don't want our foundation to be cracked, because as women, we are the foundation of our homes. We are the foundation of our families. We are the foundation of our businesses. We are the foundation of our communities. So if our foundation is cracked, what is all of the rest of this sitting on, right? How can we give when our foundation is cracked? Another way I like to say this is you want to make sure your cup is full. I started out talking about living a charged life, right? So looking at your core values is a quick way to see where there's holes in your cup, right? So I remember, I defined these core values during COVID. We all know during COVID, our lives changed tremendously. And I realized at one point I was just kind of blah. And I was like, okay, what's going on? Because there was plenty of change. There was plenty of things going on to keep me on my feet in COVID, running 2 businesses, having a team, having my parents in my business, having hundreds of clients. I had plenty of stuff to do. So I was like, why am I feeling blah? What is going on? Right? And I actually felt good about the way my business, my company, my team, and my family was handling COVID, and myself. Like, we actually doubled our business in 8 months. It was like from April to January, right? And not just that, but we doubled it by being there and serving our clients. So that was very aligned with my purpose, to take care of people and to do well, right? And it was doubling our business. And then I went to affection and I was like, no, I mean, I'm talking to my family every day. We're checking in on each other. My friends and I are checking in on each other. When my best friend and I can get together and take a walk, we're doing it. Like, I feel like my affections aligned. And then I got to adventure, and this was COVID. And I realized adventure had gone out the window, right? I hadn't traveled in months. I was so busy keeping the ship afloat and growing the business that every day was the same. And I mean, we were pretty much locked in our house. And even when I got back to the office, I just went from home to office to home to office to home to office. Like there just wasn't a lot to do. So my adventure was off. And so I thought, okay, I have limited availability for adventure right now, right? Like there's really no travel. Everything's closed. There's nowhere to go. I mean, the only people that want to hang out with me are the people closest to me. So there's no variety in people I'm seeing, right? And so I was like, how can I put adventure in? And this is when I actually started waking up super early. Right now, I'm giving myself a break from waking up early, but I normally wake up like between 4 and 5 every morning. So currently, I'm waking up at 6 because I'm giving myself grace for the change in weather. But anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm going to get up and take a walk during the sunrise tomorrow because I remembered when I lived in Milan, Italy, one of my favorite times of day was when I would be walking home at sunset. And, in Italy, all the buildings are colorful and the sun would hit the buildings and it was just beautiful. If you can tell from behind me, I'm a huge fan of color. I'm very aesthetically driven. And I just had this beautiful memory of these walks home at sunset in Milan. And I said, you know what? I'm going to wake up at sunrise. And ladies, if you haven't done this, when you take a walk at sunrise, the world looks like a different place. And so that became my adventure. So every morning I got up and went for a walk at sunrise and I'd walk to different areas, of my neighborhood, the park nearby. I'd take different routes and that refilled my cup until I could travel again, I could move. And the crazy thing is that small change led to me selling my house, buying property on an island in Honduras. Like the next year I went to Honduras 5 times, right? All because I understood I needed adventure and I filled my cup by taking a sunrise walk. So I really want you to understand your core values. And when you're feeling blah, go to them and say, which one's missing? What do I need to do to fill my cup, solidify my foundation? And when you do this, it's amazing the energy you have. It's amazing the joy you have for life. It's amazing how charged you feel living, right? So I'm going to stop for a second and check in. We're getting a couple of comments. I lost my adventure partner and there was no one else that I would want to go on those adventures with. I think that might be a big part of my depression. Cheryl, last time I looked, you were pretty cool to go on an adventure with. Like maybe it's a time in your life where you have to learn that you can be your greatest adventure partner. Like I travel alone all the time. It's actually my preferred means of travel now. Now, when I'm traveling, I try to connect with friends in different places and stuff. But I actually love traveling alone because I can do whatever the heck I want. And so anyway, just kind of think outside of the box. I understand it's totally fine to grieve this change and this loss, but like, what can you replace it with? Stephanie, I miss the beach living for that exact reason, the sunrise. So Stephanie, go find the prettiest sunrise in your current area and like fill your cup with that, right? Like whatever you need, just make the most of it. I realized I moved into this townhouse. I love this townhouse. It's perfect space for me, but my office is like at street level, so I don't get great sunlight and I don't have a great view. It is killing me. I go upstairs and work all the time so I have a better view. When I'm not doing Zooms, when I'm not on camera, I will go work up there. And so I'm in the process of moving. So I know that my home office needs a good view. That's like the number one thing I'm looking for in my new place. So really know yourself and honor yourself, right? So Cheryl's having withdrawals from no beach trip. Cheryl, get your butt to the beach. Stephanie, get yourself to the beach. You can go to the beach at the Great Lakes or do something else. I love it. So awesome. Okay, so I want to get to number 3 and I do want to, we have about 6 more minutes. Number 3 is setting stronger boundaries. So how a lot of times I think we ignore when we should set boundaries. So let's start there. If you haven't watched, I have a 3-part series that is pinned above in the featured section on how to prepare for, have the conversation, and maintain boundaries. So if you need help with boundaries, go watch that or DM me boundaries and let's talk about how we can potentially work together on this. I would love it. We have an amazing collective that we support each other in these endeavors. So it's awesome to be part of a community. So let's talk about setting stronger boundaries and having your personal core values, how they help. So I had a client who, when she defined her personal core values, it was such an aha moment for her because one of her core values was peace. She had grown up with a lot of trauma. Her father left when she was very young. She grew up really the man of the house, and she wanted peace and security, right? And she realized that her current marriage was not delivering that to her, which led her to go to marriage counseling, therapy, and then eventually exiting because she realized how toxic the relationship was for her. Now, I'm not advocating exiting relationships or getting divorces. I'm not advocating anything. This was the right path for her, right? But it all stemmed from recognizing and understanding a core value she had that was for peace and security. She did not want a household for her children like the household she had grown up in, right? And so she set that boundary of we have to go to therapy, we have to go to counseling, we have to work on this problem because I really want more peace in the home. And that conversation was had. And, for me, myself, I know. Well, I want to back up for a second. Again, go watch my 3-part series because it goes deeper in this. But a quick hack to know when your boundaries have been violated is anytime you feel resentment or bitterness, right? Like you're just like, you start feeling angry towards someone, they've probably violated a boundary. And so you want to go understand what it is. Your personal core values are huge boundaries that you get very resentful and bitter when they've been crossed. But if you don't know your personal core values, you can't understand what's going on. Does that make sense? And also, your personal goals are boundaries that should not be violated. Your time is boundaries, your self-care, etc. Lots of things, and the people you love. So Cheryl's saying she definitely needs to learn to set boundaries and not feel guilty. Yes, go watch that 3-part series on setting graceful boundaries. I call them graceful because they're boundaries you feel good about, right? We don't want to just set boundaries, but we want to feel good about them. Now, it's a skill set. At first, you will not feel good about it, but you can build that muscle over time. So anyway, anytime you feel resentment or bitterness, or you feel like someone's stepping on you, just stop and look at your core values and say, are they violating one of these? Most of the time, one of them is being violated. And then you want to get deep in that understanding of your why. And this leads to a much better conversation, number one. Number two, it gives you the energy and confidence. It kind of pulls up that mama bear energy so you can protect your core values and have that conversation. And then it gives you the strength and the stamina to maintain the boundary. So for me, I recently set a very strong boundary with some people in my family. It was like a year ago, and they just multiple health problems with multiple people were coming up. And it's always like I'm always there. I fly into town, I take care of things, etc. And I just found myself getting like upset one time. And I'm like, okay, why am I getting upset? Because I chose to come here. I chose to be here. I chose to do this role. And I realized that my boundary of alignment was being violated because I believe that our bodies are a temple given to us by God and that it is my duty to take care of this body, right? And I felt my family members who are having health challenges were not taking care of themselves, which led to the health problems. And therefore, I had to show up and be there all the time when they were violating an important value of mine, right? My value was alignment, and my sub value was believing that our body is a temple and we should take care of it, right? So basically, this by me being there every time someone got sick, and they were getting sick because they were choosing unhealthy habits, etc., that led to the getting sick. So I was violating my value of alignment because I was not living in alignment with my value that my body is my temple and I should take care of it, because I was allowing other people not to. Does that make sense? Now, everyone has free will. They can do what they want with their bodies. They can take care of their bodies how they want. That's another strong value of mine I like to live in alignment with, that we have free will and we should not violate each other's free will. But I was violating my own value by being there for them. I know this is very complicated, but when you are strong in your core values and when you feel resentful or bitter and you dig in and realize it's violating a core value, it just becomes crystal clear to you. Sometimes you can't fully explain it to others, but it solidifies your decision to stand your ground. And I literally just told my family members, well, two of the three of them, because there were three of them. The third one, I did not feel comfortable having this conversation with because I knew it wasn't going to be taken well. So I just chose not to participate anymore. The other two, I had a conversation, and since then they have actually changed their habits, gone out of their way to take care of themselves. So now if they have a medical emergency, it's a true emergency, and I don't hesitate to be there. I hope we don't have any more. I pray for that every day, but I know they're doing everything within their power to honor and protect the temple that God has given them. So now I don't feel bitterness or resentment if I'm there taking care of them, because I know they're doing their part and that they're living in alignment with my values. So I'm not being asked to violate my values. So I just thought I'd kind of share stories today, which would help you understand how personal core values can help be your best decision hack, make great aligned decisions. Number 2, recharge your energy, which is refilling your cup and solidifying your foundation. And number 3, help you set, maintain, and keep strong boundaries, right? I promise you, I'm going to drop the worksheet below. It's just a guidance to help you define your 3 core values. Again, if you want to work with me on this, just DM me. Happy to chat with you about what that would look like, but I will drop a worksheet so that you can do it yourself. And your first set of core values you might tweak, but at least go through the worksheet, get 3 core values, right? And then start using them as your decision hack to recharge your energy and to set stronger boundaries. Just take these first steps. I would love for you to go through it and, DM me again if you want help with this. We can talk about what that looks like. It would be through coaching. And then if you want to do it on your own, go for it. And then if you get to a sticking point and you want help, again, you can DM me and we can talk about coaching through that. Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. I'm so excited for you to join me. Do me a favor, when you get your 3 core values, come back to the comments or just do a post. I'll approve it in the group where you're sharing your personal core values, because then it's the ripple effect. We're going to encourage other women to do the same so that they can make better decisions, recharge their energy, and set stronger boundaries. And this is literally how we change the world. All right. So love you all. Have a great day. Talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.
Thanks again for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to hit subscribe so future episodes are automatically downloaded directly to your device. And if you want access to today's show notes, including links to all the resources we mentioned, visit vixengathering.com/podcast. Thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you next week for another episode of The Vixen Voice.